You know, it's almost like your birthday with a package from China, so let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in today's video, we are going to take a close look at the new 4K game stick, or also known as the 4K game box. The 2.4 GHz wireless controller gamepad, man, they are really proud to put that something like that on the box, quite huge. Professional game chip, I love it when they're putting stuff like this. Like, you know, some of the things that put in on the boxes are absolutely laughable. So first of all, professional game chip. You can tell you there is nothing professional about it. They're using quite some old tech. Classic games, dual rocker control, and 3D games. But let's take a close look at the product features. It comes with double handheld. Yeah, right. So they mean double controller. Supports 9 simulators, open source system, and dual players. I have no idea what they mean with the last part. So there was a lot of nonsense on here. But what is interesting, what kind of platforms they are basically supporting. This thing supports MAME, Famicom, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Classic, Mega Drive, Super Famicom, PlayStation 1, and Atari 2600, and even the 7800 seems to be on here. But only comes with 256 megabytes of DDR3 and a flash of 128 megabyte. But what are we actually going to get? So let's talk about that first. So when opening the box itself, so then of course we're going to get the game stick. And the game stick is in way better quality than we have seen many times before. So first of all, it comes with a metal housing, and I can tell you this is feeling way more better. So they have the rubberized, like say, protection. So that is, I can hear it saying myself, rubberized protection. That's what she said or something. Let's do that again. What I wanted to say is that actually the overall quality is so much better than the previous models. We're going to get one USB connection, so what we're going to get is the configuration that we're having one USB dongle that we're going to put in here, and it will connect with 2 controllers, the SD card. So let's talk about those things. Most of the time they're using not the original brands. This is a 128 gigabyte, but yeah, these things can get corrupted, so yeah, backup. Or the Chinese need to add like really great brands like a Samsung or SanDisk or another great Chinese brand or whatever. Take a close look inside in here. So we're going to get ourselves to 2 controllers, and unfortunately they're always giving us most of the time really cheap controllers, but this time we're going to get way overall better quality. So there is no rumble, I can just feel it already of the weight. But this is more like a semi PlayStation 4 ripoff, but the comfortability is so much better. The A, B and the X, the Y button are feeling quite okay. They have a very nice travel. We have indeed dual rocker, or in other words, 2 analog sticks, if they even configured with some games. The D-pad, and the D-pad feels quite nice. Select start, we are going to get a home button. Return and the home button, absolutely, these are like PlayStation 4 controllers. They work on 2 AAA batteries, so okay. So let's stick in some batteries in here. There is no indication so far I can see for play 1, play 2, so they will automatically being connected. Over here we can see 4 LEDs. So this is what we have going to have with the controllers, and this is absolutely an improvement, I can tell you that. Let's see if my batteries are having any juice. Yep, they are. So let's plug in the device, let's talk about that. Yes, we have still more stuff. So we're going to get ourselves the instruction manual. So let's see if it's going to be in English. Yes, we have. We have the option to add games to the system, and that can be done by the ROM folder if you put in the SD card in your system. But that's actually the only way you can add games. We're going to get ourselves an extension cord or an extension HDMI, because some of the, let's say, television don't have the option to plug this thing in, so you're going to need one of these things. You can buy them for a couple of euros on AliExpress, not a big of a deal. And then very nice quality, high quality, but very lengthy cable. Okay, that looks kind of weird. Let's put this thing in. Yeah, okay, so it sticks out a little bit, but doesn't matter. So what we're going to need to do is plug this thing into your USB port of your television to give this thing some use, or use yourself like a 5V. Not a supercharger or a fast charger, just a normal 5V one. A couple of, let's say, 2 amp is more than enough. And that's the way how you basically connect it, and you're ready to go. Okay, so let's plug it in. The first thing that we're going to do is plug in the USB connection. For powering on, my television will provide enough amps to boot this thing up. Unfortunate, I cannot plug it in fully over here because there's a screw that I cannot remove. So it does feel that it gets in all the way, but I can tell you it will not boot up. Tried it with a couple of ones now. So the next thing we need to do is get this extension cord. I find it a little bit a bummer to use it like this because the plug and play solution is so cool. Alright, so let's plug this bad boy in. And that's it. That's the only thing we need to do. Power on the television and it will automatically boot up. So when booted up, this is actually what we're going to get. It's just going to be plug and play. You can navigate through the menu pressing the D-pad. Pressing right or left, you're going to skip a page. I can tell you there's a lot of stuff on some of these things, so it's absolutely crazy. Unfortunately, we cannot go to the end of the list by pressing left on the first page. So we need to go all the way to the right. There is no alphabetic order. This is absolutely one huge, gigantic mess. So pressing L1 and R1, here we can choose the different kind of, let's say, platforms. We're having history, collection and search. The search option is always sometimes a hit or miss, so let's choose the game Mortal Kombat. You do feel there's a delay, so every single time you need to put in a letter, you can just feel that it needs to load up. It's quite annoying, to be honest, simply because you need to wait every single time. But so far, you can see we have entered Mortal, but nothing is happening over here. So when it comes to the search, it's absolutely one mess. Oh man, it's just a disappointment. But what is interesting, and it's also an improvement, when pressing select and start over here, we're going to get ourselves the special menu where we can make a quick load and quick save. So what I really love about these things, you can make a screenshot with a quick load quick save over here. So when you're going to get into the load settings, here you can see we can have a tiny screenshot that basically indicates where you have left. I think it's a very cool thing. Also, what is cool that we're having aspect ratio option. Yep, they implemented it finally into the game sticks. So resuming will put this thing in original aspect ratio. But when it comes to the controllers, it can be quite a little bit confusing. Simply when you're looking at them, both of them will indicate player 2. So that's a little bit messed up in my opinion. But it doesn't, let's say, have a problem that we cannot boot up the game. It seems to be that it actually works pretty damn well. For both controllers we can just play, start a game and have no problem whatsoever. And everything seems to be configured automatically when it comes to every single emulator so far I have checked out. But again, if you have any problems, you just need to unplug it and reset everything. But how is the overall performance of the game? So let's start off with some basic MIM games. But everything seems to be working just fine. The D-pad, but also the analogs that can be used. The right joystick doesn't do anything. The reason I'm testing it with handhelds, we did have the problem that some of the games, or handhelds at least, when the right joystick were configured with the buttons. Kind of weird, but it was the thing what happened all the time with certain handhelds. But so far so good. They're using a weird filter over it. I think it's not a big of a deal, but if you really hate those filters, you cannot shut it down. Alright, so let's get into the 4:3 aspect ratio. Let's switch to that. And here you can see it works instantly. So far so good, but let's take a close look at some other stuff. So if you don't want to have the special menu, by the way, there's another cool thing. When you're pressing the home button, it will automatically go back to here. So where the search function is not working that great, let's take a close look at the classes. Over here we're going to get Arcade, Famicom, Super Famicom, Mega Drive, GBA, Game Boy, Classic, the Color and the PlayStation 1 and Atari. This is another thing new, we have seen it a couple of times, only the layout looks slightly better. Choosing a class, here we can go into that and check it out. Yeah, what I did notice when you're looking at some previous, let's say, plug and play sticks, actually when you're looking into the overall speed, this is so much better. It instantly loads, where a lot of these older 4K game sticks had a lot of issues. I did notice every single time I'm booting up a game, if it's platform based or basically when it comes to the overall, let's say, games itself, yeah, you need to switch all the freaking time to the aspect ratio. Alright, so let's go back. All the sound effects are here. The button layout is kind of weird because we're using X and B for this. Oh, I was thinking, yeah, where I'm invincible or what? But the delay, yeah, how about that? You can see I'm pressing the button, it responds very quickly with a 2.4 GHz connection. So when it comes to the overall performance of the controllers and everything, no problem whatsoever. Right, so next game I just wanted to try is some Desert Strike, one of the games I've played so much back in the day. But I just wanted to see what happens. And again, you need to change out the aspect ratio. Let's do that first. Let's see how it actually works. Right, there we go. But I'm very glad that the controls are working that well. But also if you're a fan of the overall analog stick situation, you can just use it like this. And just when you need to get really used to the analog stick. But also the overall audio and the gameplay seems to be working just fine. One of the other games I really liked to play back in the day as a child, The Lost Vikings. It's a very cool puzzle game. Oh. And I killed myself already. There we go. Let's change out the aspect ratio again to see if it works with the Mega Drive. A system I was really looking forward to checking out is the Game Boy Advance. It will not look the best simply because these things are going to be maximum stretched out and running on native resolution. But I think it's pretty damn cool. Another thing I also wanted to check out, how will it work with the aspect ratio? Where a lot of these original games work with 4:3, this is not really 4:3 aspect ratio. And I mean particularly when you're looking at the stretch situation. Some emulators completely messing up, giving us a tiny window, but also this seems to be working fine. So far I can also hear there is no glitching going on with the audio that we have seen with the previous game dongles. In combination with the quick load, quick save, you can actually save every single game on a certain point if you want to. So that's pretty damn cool, man. Look, it works amazing. It doesn't look the best, but from a distance. Oh, by the way, you don't want to play games like these on a 55-inch television. I can tell you already there. Going to be pixelated like crazy. Alright, so there's a little bit of a problem when it comes to the Game Boy Classic, and the problem is that it looks absolutely horrible. Because this is something we're going to need an aspect ratio at least for, but again, it will help a little bit. Now it looks way better, not stretched out like crazy. It's a cool way to play the old school games, but if this is the way you want to actually play some Game Boy games, my opinion, nah. But let me know in the comments what do you think of the configuration like this. Can you really enjoy these games? Because damn, they look really bad, but the sound seems to be, yeah, no problems with the sound whatsoever. But let's take a close look at the PlayStation system, because I think it's a very cool addition. You can actually play PlayStation on this. Oh man, PlayStation, such a good system with so many hidden gems. It runs on native resolution. I can see it. It's looking really bad, in my opinion. And I mean, not in the way that actually emulation is bad, but the way how it looks. Yeah. See, and this is a general problem. The problem I've seen many times before. The aspect ratio option does work, but not with every single system. And oh crap, I reset it. Oh. But unfortunate, there is no way of fixing this problem. Full screen. Alright, there we go. Let's go back. Let's try the settings again. Sometimes we're doing this a couple of times. We'll fix the issue. Reset it. No. Here you can see that actually looks good. That's kind of interesting. With the intro, we're going to get overall good performance. Yeah, this is another thing. The intro always like stutters, and this is just a general problem with the emulator they're using. But the overall gameplay is not bad. I know for a fact. Maybe minor hiccups, but an overall performance. But there is no way of fixing it somehow. The emulator don't want to work with when it comes to the aspect ratio. But if you're going to try out a different game, it's highly possible that it does work. I have seen this issue before and it didn't fix it. That's a little bit of a bummer. Next game, same issues, so there is no way of fixing it. What I am glad for that they actually fixed a couple of things. So first of all, the button layout is like it should be with the original games. The AAB, I think they messed that particular part up. But they messed up the buttons for the kick. So let's see if we can fix that particular problem. Let's go to the controls. Here we can change out. Let's see, we're having A and B have they switching them out. So let's see if this is normal, how I'm used to it, playing it. Alright. Yeah, there we go. There we go. This is the original. Another cool thing is they implemented the soundtracks. They didn't mess it up part 2. So let's get into the screen settings. Sorry guys, I keep messing with it. So this is way better. So that is the thing I really like about it when it comes to the game stick, is that actually it works pretty good when it comes to emulation performance. The express ratio is a bummer, but also the controls can be fixed, because that was an issue I had a lot with these things. So the product itself is not perfect, but I must say they're getting close now. So when you look in the overall performance, and but also when you're looking at the pros and the cons, yeah, there are some things that they need to improve absolutely tomorrow. But if they're going to do it, that is something we don't know. They did improve the controller, by the way. That's way better than those PlayStation 2 chemical ones. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it would be great to see you in the next video.